In recent weeks here on New Mexico in Focus, we've covered reactions to the toxic wastewater spill in the Animas River that started in Colorado. A team of contractors with the Environmental Protection Agency accidentally released the wastewater while working on an abandoned mine site. And communities and farmers along the Animas River went for days without access to water. Most are now pulling from the river again after testing by the EPA and local officials showed the water does not have high levels of various metals, but the Navajo Nation held off longer. Tribal officials still have questions and concerns that they are bringing to the federal government. Our producer Sarah Gustavus sat down with Antonio Gonzalez from the National Native News this week to hear the latest on the response from the Navajo Nation.
Antonio Gonzalez, thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
You're the anchor of National Native News, a national newscast that's produced right here in Albuquerque, and you recently made some trips to the Navajo Nation to report on the impacts of the spill. Do tribal leaders feel like they got enough information about the spill right when it happened?
Initially, what we heard from tribal officials was absolutely not. So there's the president's office, the Navajo Nation President Russell Begay, who runs the Navajo Nation. Then you have the Tribal Council, which represents different communities. The Navajo Nation is a vast reservation. There's a lot of people, a lot of population, a lot of communities. Then you also have the local leaders. So you have the leaders of their local communities. And so a lot of officials we talked to said even more than 24 hours after the spill is when they found out about it. And so the immediate response was, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to tackle this? And all the leaders we talked to say they weren't getting the right kind of information they wanted from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
As we're talking right now, water is still not being pulled from the river on the Navajo Nation. What kind of impact did you see, especially on farmers when you were out there, of not having water for several weeks?
Well, we went out there about a week after the spill, and it took about 7 days for many of the farmers we talked to get any kind of assistance. The tribe was depending on the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to give, water to these farmers who were impacted and the livestock owners. And so we visited a community right when we got there, west of Farmington, New Mexico, a community called Hogback, New Mexico, and there was a produce stand. A lot of these people, this is their livelihood. It's not about recreation for them. This is a lot of people, this is their way of life. They have been for generations, farmers, and they also sell their produce on the side of the road. So this farmer that we talked to, Sherelle Mesa, she's a 6th-generation farmer, and so she was already seeing immediate impact. She let us tour her farm. We saw a lot of wilting crops. She was right off of the San Juan River, and so her irrigation normally would flood in and water those crops, but for the Hogback community, they had to haul water, and so they had to drive to their local chapter house, and that's the administrative and community meeting place for people on the Navajo Nation. They each have their own chapters that they go to. And so her allowance that day we talked to her was about 100 gallons a day. And she had thousands of crops, corn, squash, melons, and she had to water each one of those by hand. So for her, maybe that meant for the day only one row got watered. We also went to Shiprock, New Mexico, where the Northern Dene Youth Council has a farm. It's just a 1-year, it started in May. And so they let us tour their farm. A lot of their crops, a lot of their corn were already wilting, but they decided to take a positive step towards this. So what they were doing was they not only helped elders in the community plant and prepare their farms. They set up a community event, a prayer right after the spill. But since their farm was brand new, they hadn't had a harvest. Their crops were just starting to grow, and so they decided to save their farm. And so they started a project where instead of using the irrigation directly from the San Juan River, they decided to go more with pipe irrigation. When we were there, they had just built 2 basins to catch rainwater. And a lot of these people were very grateful for the rain, and they were praying for the rain. Navajo people, like other Native people across the country, are really resilient. So people know how to conserve their resources. And this youth group was trying to send a positive message to the rest of the communities that, hey, these kind of things can be done.
But the Navajo Nation government is trying to hold the federal government accountable. What have you heard from them so far? It sounds like a lot of anger, a lot of frustration dealing with the EPA and with federal officials.
There's definitely a lot of anger at first from people we talked to. The president came out right away and declared a state of emergency that Saturday, and he was the first to say, we're going to sue. He talked about planning that litigation. The tribe is in the process. We spoke with him last week. He attended a meeting in Shiprock when the Shiprock community was voting on whether or not to open the irrigation. He had asked the communities to vote on that. And so he had been traveling around to different communities since the spill. And there are a lot of different issues that they're looking at for the litigation. And so they're doing their own tests. Begay told me they don't trust the EPA. They've had a lot of issues with the EPA. One was the quality of water. We had talked to some farmers and some livestock owners up in Helchita, Mexican Hat, Utah area. We traveled up there because the impact was more than 200 miles long. And so a lot of farmers in the Four Corners were heavily impacted by this. A lot of remote communities, especially in this area. A lot of your viewers may know it because it's near Monument Valley, Utah, which is famously used by Hollywood. A lot of Hollywood films are shot there. So this community member we had talked to this was his second trip of the day because earlier in the morning he had said he had got water that was discolored and had an oily film. Well, a week later, the tribe decided to investigate reports because they started getting a lot of these reports, and the president and some of his staff went out to some tanks in Shiprock and they posted videos showing the EPA's water tanks. You know, they dispelled the claims basically by what the U.S. EPA was saying. Begay did said they were grateful because of some of the assistance. The EPA did provide hay. We did talk to people who were using that hay. A lot of livestock owners, it was a little easier for them to address the spill right away because as soon as they found out, they were told, pen in your animals, keep them from grazing near the river, keep them away from the river. And so the response for the livestock owners was to get the hay and, you know, use non-potable water for your livestock.
Now, you mentioned one farm making preparations for the future. Is the tribe looking at ways to mitigate a potential disaster like this again in the future?
Yes, Russell Begay said that some of the ideas he's looking at are gaining more water rights. You know, the tribe claims water rights to a lot of this area. This is their traditional homelands. So he wants to look at the Colorado River, and he also wants to examine getting piped in water from the Navajo Nation Dam. So those are some things he's looking at for a long-term plan, and also talking to local chapter houses to see what some of the things they can do looking at long-term.
What else is next?
Well, there's a lot going on. The story changes so rapidly, as we found out. And this week, President Begay did declare that he was keeping restrictions on the San Juan River. But there are a lot of farmers who want it turned on. There's so many communities, so many farmers. So Russell Begay told us as he's been traveling around, he's been hearing from both sides. And so the Navajo Nation Council reported today that there are 4 communities that voted to open for irrigation, so they're working that angle. And also there's going to be some Senate hearings. The Senate Committee on Indian Affairs just announced today that they're going to have a hearing on this impact on the Navajo Nation from the U.S. EPA's caused this spill, so they're going to have a hearing looking at its impact on the Navajo Nation.
Antonia, we'll put up links to your latest coverage on our website, NewMexicoInFocus.org. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah.